Hey guys, another video for our Buying a House in Japan playlist. So you might remember we did a fairly extensive renovation on this kitchen in the old Japanese farmhouse about 8 years ago. But we didn't do much to the floor. We sort of cleaned it up a bit, but there was a couple of serious bits of damage where things had been left, food had been left actually for 10 years. And there was an old can or something that was left in this spot here, and it was wet and it rusted and the water leaked through into the floor and basically destroyed this parquetry. It's a parquetry floor. It's not a particularly good quality one. It's just sheets of parquetry that are put down. But it just, at the time, it was just too tricky to fix. So we just put that, what Japanese people call cushion floor, that stuff, just like a linoleum type thing, laid that down underneath the furniture. And it's been fine, it's been okay, but slowly that linoleum, that cushion floor, started to get dodgier and dodgier, and it was starting to, people were tripping on it, and it was starting to be a bit of a pain. So this was a bit of an experiment. We got the unskilled labourer to have a look at it and have a go at it with by hand sanding to see if we could do something with it. Because as always is the case with the old farmhouse, there's a good chance that we might sell it at some stage in the future, and when we do, whoever buys it's likely to demolish it, because that's just what happens to old houses like this in Japan. People don't want to live in an old house. So as always, we have to keep the budget to a bare minimum. So ideally we'd replace the whole floor, but it just would be a total waste of money. We'd just be throwing the money away. And the floor is sort of tired, but it's in good enough condition. It's just that one spot that looks and feels dodgy. Even more than it looks dodgy, it feels even worse. It's sort of rough, really rough. Rough to stand on, uneven. So it started to look like we'd be able to do something with it. So okay, we bit the bullet, cut the lino off, and then cleaned the whole floor. This is the way floors are cleaned in Japan. Some of you who spent a bit of time in Japan would have seen this. People don't use mops and things. Whole schools are cleaned by kids on their knees like this. It's just what's done. So did Japanese style cleaning of the floor, just with wet rag. Give it a good cleaning. And then this is actually silicone, so again, not the ideal. There's always people who watch these videos and say, oh, that's not good, you should have used this, or you should have used that, or you should have used something else. There's a reason this guy's called the unskilled labourer. And again, we try and use materials we have on hand, so just needed to seal it up. The little bits of wood that are dried out and are in a bad state, and in between them were little gaps which would have let moisture down or water down underneath. We didn't want that getting underneath. So sealed the little gaps in between the pieces with silicone, and then cleaned it off so that just the gaps in the middle. So again, we're fully aware the stain that's in it was really deep, so we knew that we weren't going to be able to change the colour of it too much. Just wanted to make it look a bit better, and most importantly feel better, to make it smooth, because the way it was before, you could feel it under your feet. It didn't feel right. So this is putting wax into it now, because the wood's really dry, and all the wooden floors in the old farmhouse we wax, so the kitchen too. So I gave it some extra wax where that wet spot was, and then waxed the whole floor. So there are a couple of people who often ask us about jobs at the old farmhouse. They quite enjoy watching the jobs video. Most of them are like this. Most of the jobs are like this, just little things like this. This took a day, you know. That sanding actually took a lot longer. All these things take a lot longer than what they seem. Most of the time we cut out big pieces and of the video and speed it up to 8 times normal speed and all sorts of things to make it less boring to watch. But yeah, a bit of time went into it. But most of the jobs are like this. They're not big spectacular jobs where you see a huge difference at the end, you know. So there's an improvement, you know. This is what it's been like for the last 8 years with that piece of lino there. And it's been alright. It's been alright. yuck. But it's been fine. You know, again, when you live in an old farmhouse like this, you don't expect everything to look new. There's dodgy bits all over the place. We just accept that. But when we can spend very little money and improve it, so you can see there's a nice dark circle there, but it's smooth. It feels underfoot. If you don't look down and you just feel it with your feet, you can't feel the difference between that and the nice bits. So it worked. And the cost was nothing, basically, just used materials we had on hand and a bit of labour from the unskilled labourer. So that was that. More videos coming soon.